Good morning, students. Today we discuss another topic from organisms and population chapter, that is adaptations. So what is adaptations? Adaptation is a quality. Adaptation is a quality of the organism that enables organisms to reproduce and survive in its habitat. So what is adaptation? It is a quality. It is a quality of the organism that enables the organisms to survive and reproduce in its habitat. And adaptations usually allow the organisms to live in different types of habitats. And these adaptations are mainly due to mutations and recombinations. Mutation and recombinations. Adaptations are mainly due to mutations and recombinations. Adaptations usually it is of two types: phenotypic adaptations and genotypic adaptations. Adaptations are two types: phenotypic adaptations and genotypic adaptations. Phenotypic adaptations. Phenotypic adaptations means adaptations in morphology and physiology, or they are the favorable changes. They are the favorable changes in morphological characters and physiological characters in order to variations in the environment. If variations occurred in environment, according to that variations, the suitable variations also occurred in morphological and physiological characters of organism, and such type of useful variations or useful changes are called phenotypic adaptations. Phenotypic adaptations are favorable changes in morphology and physiology of organisms in response to variations in the environment. And these phenotypic adaptations, they become disappear when external environmental conditions become normal. And the ability of genetically similar populations have phenotypic adaptations, that is called phenotypic plasticity. Phenotypic plasticity. It is the ability of genetically similar populations have phenotypic adaptations according to changes in environment, and this ability of organisms is known as phenotypic plasticity. And phenotypic adaptations, the best example for phenotypic adaptations, that is altitude sickness. Altitude sickness. So some organisms have phenotypic adaptations, that is like altitude sickness. What is altitude sickness? If you ever had been high altitude place, for example Leh or Rohtang Pass near Manali or Ladakh, then you must have experienced what is called altitude sickness. If you ever had been high altitude place, then you must have experienced that is called altitude sickness. And the symptoms of altitude sickness is nausea, fatigue, and heart palpitations. These are some of the symptoms of altitude sickness. Then how did our body compensate all these characters? And all these characters, it is due to low atmospheric pressure at high altitude places. That's why then when low atmospheric pressure is there, then our body does not get enough oxygen. Then how our body is compensated with all these characters? Then our body, there are some physiological changes occur. So what are the physiological changes occurred in our body at the particular time? Then our body increases the breathing rate. When breathing rate increases, then our body get a sufficient amount of oxygen, and the body also increase the production of red blood cells, and body also decrease the binding capacity with hemoglobin. So due to all these changes, then our body is compensated with the that particular conditions. When you come into plain areas, then all these symptoms become disappear. Phenotypic adaptations, they become disappear when conditions become normal. When conditions become normal, all these characters, all these symptoms become disappear. So what is altitude sickness? If you have ever been a high altitude place, you must experience, that is called altitude sickness, and the symptoms of altitude sickness are nausea, fatigue and heart palpitations. It is all these symptoms due to low atmospheric pressure at high altitude place, then our body does not get sufficient oxygen. Then our bodies compensate with all these conditions by increasing breathing rate and increasing rate of production of RBC and decreasing the binding capacity of red blood cells with hemoglobin. So this is the reason many tribes who living in high altitude place, they have higher count of hemoglobin than the people who live in plain areas. So this is the best example for phenotypic adaptations. And the second one is genotypic adaptations. Genotypic adaptations. What are genotypic adaptations? They are genetic variations. They are genetic variations which enables the subpopulation in its particular habitat in a particular environmental conditions. Variations in genes of a subpopulation, that variations enables the subpopulation to survive in its habitat with response to changes in environmental conditions. That is called genotypic adaptation. Simply adaptations in genetic level. Adaptations in genetic level is called genotypic adaptations. So these are the two different types of adaptations. Now we must understand the different adaptations, the various adaptations in plants and animals. So firstly we will discuss with plant adaptations. The first one is plant adaptations. Plant adaptations with light reason. So light influence, in previous videos already I told you, light influence the life of living organisms by its duration, by its intensity, by its quality. And some plants require high intensity of light and some plants require low intensity of light. Accordingly, plants are divided into two types. Some plants are called heliophytes and some plants are called sciophytes. Heliophytes are also called sun plants and sciophytes are also called shade plants. So heliophytes they require high light intensity. Heliophytes require high light intensity for its survival, and sciophytes require low intensity of light for its survival. So plant adaptations to light regime. Accordingly, plants are two different types: heliophytes and sciophytes. Heliophytes, sun plants, they require high light intensity. Sciophytes, shade plants, they require low light intensity. And second one is plant adaptations to water and heat, mainly heat. Plants which are live in xeric conditions or dry conditions are usually they are called xerophytes. Plants of xeric conditions or plants of dry conditions, or plants of dry conditions are called xerophytes. And xerophytes are usually they are different types. Ephemerals, annuals, succulents and non-succulent perennial xerophytes. Ephemerals are also called drought escapers. They are called drought escapers. And these ephemerals usually they can live for brief period during rainy season. The best example is euphorbia. Euphorbia. Next, annuals. Annuals are also called drought evaders. They are also called drought evaders, and they can live for few weeks after stoppage of rains. They can live only during rainy season, but they can live for few weeks even after the stoppage of rains. An example is Solanum. One more example is Tribulus. This is one more example. And next, succulents. Succulents are also called drought resistants. They are also called drought resistants. And these plants, they store large amount of water and mucilage. That's why these succulents have flescioles. And the best example is Opuntia. And last one is non-succulent perennial xerophytes. Actually, they are the true xerophytes, and they face the dry or drought conditions. They are also called drought endurers. They are also called drought endurers, and best example for that is Neem. So according to dry conditions, according to availability of water and heat, plants are adapted to different types, and they are called xerophytes. And according to drought conditions, xerophytes are divided into ephemerals, annuals, succulents, and non-succulent perennial xerophytes. Next, plant adaptations to water. Plant adaptations to water. The plants of water conditions or plants of aquatic conditions are called hydrophytes. And what are the important adaptations in hydrophytes? Usually in hydrophytes, roots are absent, because being aquatic, they need no need to root system. And being aquatic, mechanical tissue is also absent. So what is mechanical tissues? Both xylem and phloem, conducting tissues are absent. They are also absent, but they produce mucilage for desiccation. Mucilage protect the plant for desiccation, and they also possesses one special tissue that is called arranchyma. The arranchyma, it is a type of parenchyma, and this arranchyma gives buoyancy to free floated aquatic plants or free floated hydrophytes. And these are some of the adaptations which possesses by hydrophytic plants. Next, plant adaptations to oligotrophic soils. Plant adaptations to oligotrophic soils. Oligotrophic soils. So, oligotrophic soils, usually they are poor. They are poor in nutrients. That's why the roots of such plants, they are associated with mycorrhiza. So what is mycorrhiza? We all know about mycorrhiza. Class 11 biological classification, already I told you. So mycorrhiza, what is mycorrhiza? It is a symbiotic association between fungi and roots of higher plants. That symbiotic association is known as mycorrhiza. And mycorrhiza again, it is according to conditions, mycorrhiza is of two types: ectomycorrhiza and endomycorrhiza. Ectomycorrhiza, in this type, the fungi are hyphal cells or body cells of fungi. They are enter into only intercellular spaces of roots of higher plants, and they absorb large amount of water and minerals and supply the plant. And they also produce a mantle or they produce a mesh-like structure, and this mesh-like structure increase the surface area and absorb water and minerals supplied to the plant body. Next, endomycorrhiza. In this type, the hyphal cells enter into cortical cells. The hyphae enter into cortical cells to form a swollen structure, and this swollen structure is also called VAM, vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza. It is also called vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza. It is also called endomycorrhiza. Endomycorrhiza usually present in pinus. So these are the various types of adaptations we can find or we can observe in various plants. Next, now we will discuss animal adaptations. Animals are also they produce various changes to obtain advantages, especially from predations. And animal adaptations are also different types. Some important types are camouflage. So what is camouflage? It is also in camouflage the animals. It is the ability of organisms. It is the ability of organisms to blend with background. To blend with background or to blend with surroundings. It is the ability of organisms to blend with surrounding conditions or color of the background. This adaptation is called camouflage, and camouflage is shown by praying mantis, when octopus also show the camouflage, and chameleon. These are some examples listed on camouflage. It is the ability of organisms to blend with background. And second adaptation, animal adaptation, is mimicry. That is mimicry. What is mimicry? It is the resemblance of one species with another species to obtain advantage, especially from predator. And in this organism, the animal or organism which is imitated, that is called model. Which imitates, that is called mimic. And model is always ferocious or distasteful, and mimic sometimes it is defenseless. And mimicry is also different types. Mimicry is mainly two types. Some mimicry is called Batesian mimicry, and some of them is called Mullerian mimicry. In Batesian mimicry, in this type, mimic is defenseless. That's why mimic is resemble with model. Batesian mimicry. And Mullerian, it is the resemblance of one species with another species in order to obtain advantage, especially from predators. Next, warning coloration. In South American forest, some dart frogs, they produce highly brighter colors. That's why they are protected from predators. And one more important type, that is echolocation. Echolocation usually shown by bats. Bats are usually nocturnal flying mammals which do not have proper eyesight for their habitat, for their food, and for their predators. That's why these bats, they produce high frequency of sounds in order to obtain advantage from the predators. And these are the various adaptations shown by various plants and animals. From this video, in this chapter, the first topic is totally completed, that is organism. From next video, we will discuss about the populations. The name of this chapter is organisms and population. So organisms topic is completed. From next video, we will discuss about populations.